Because I am such a good friend, I'm going to go ahead and do some research to find out what I should do in case any of my friends are ever possessed by a demon. How do you research this, you ask? Duh, by reading my best friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I am so excited to check out this book. I see it everywhere. It's super popular. I'm going to read this and then I'm going to watch the Amazon Prime movie that is just released. It is an adaptation of the book and I'm really curious to compare them. There's a lot of things I want to know. I want to know how scary each of them is. I want to know how closely the movie follows the book. And then I want to answer the question on everybody's mind. Is the book actually better than the movie? Let's find out.
Isn't this the perfect bookmark for this book? I've got this neon theme going, so this lime green is going to be what's hanging out at the top of the book while I'm reading. I think it is so perfect. I just read a scene with birds, which I think is this cover depiction right here, and oh my gosh, it was so creepy and terrifying. I'm really looking forward to the movie and seeing if they include it and what it's like in that format.
I read in an author's note in another book, Grady Hendrix said that in this book, the parents are the villains. Because when you're a teenager, they kind of are villains because they just don't understand. But these parents are seriously awful. They just latch on to the wrong kind of information. They're not listening. They're driving me crazy. I'm reading this chapter and I'm just sitting here wondering what school in any decade would take a bunch of 10th graders to the medical lab at a university and do a tour of all the cadavers and weird things there. That is so strange, and I really wonder if this is going to be in the movie. I love foreshadowing in books, and this one has a lot of it, so I'm really curious because I don't think movies can do that same thing.
I'm on this page where Abby's mom is laying down the law. You better have your ass covered or it's gonna be grass and I'm going to be the lawnmower. I love it. Finally, a parent that I adore in this book. Oh my god, page 252, what happens to the friend Margaret is so visual and disturbing, and I'm really terrified to see that particular scene in the movie because I finished the book for my best friend's Exorcism. Now I'm at the grocery store to pick up some remaining items for my dinner movie date night. It's really difficult to think of an 80s menu, but I think I have some good creative things in mind for tonight's dinner. The plot of this book is pretty much summarized by the title. I don't think I need to go into too much more detail. It's set in the 80s. We have childhood best friends. They're in like the 10th grade and one of them is possessed. The other one's trying to save her. So there you go. That's the plot we are working with. I have equal opinions of liking this book and disliking this book. So at this moment, I really don't know how I feel about the book overall. I'd say if I didn't plan this whole event around the movie, I probably wouldn't bother watching it, but I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. Firstly, some things I really liked about the book. I picked this up because I was really interested in reading about the friendship between these two girls. And that element delivered in all ways. Particularly the last chapter was really sweet, gave me all the feels. I got choked up a little bit, so that was perfect. The things that happened during the possession were very scary and creepy, but also really intelligent. So I enjoyed reading that. I was grossed out, I was disturbed. It was really great. In equal measures, the things that I disliked, I felt like the book was kind of slow moving. Most of the pages are dedicated to Gretchen just being a bitch because she's possessed. That's fine. But it took a really long time for scary things to happen, and it was very hard for me to stay engaged with the book for majority of it. Once things started happening, sure, it was very exciting and intriguing, but until then, I thought it was really slow. A huge element of the book that I did not enjoy reading was the nobody believes me, everybody thinks I'm crazy trope, which Grady Hendrix seems to be really fond of because Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which I just read, did the exact same thing. And so that was very, very prevalent in this book. But on the other hand, you kind of needed it because it showed how these two best friends are in it together, right? It's kind of the world against them and trying to, Abby trying to save her friend Gretchen. Nobody believes her. So I didn't enjoy it, but I also understood why it was necessary, and I think it also added to that element that I liked of the friendship. So I'm kind of a hypocrite there. Finally, the main thing I disliked about this book, nobody told me that there's the murder of an animal in this book. And I wish I had known, because that's a trigger for me. I don't like it. I was really upset. I was having a really good time being scared, right? I mean, I even filmed an updated clip about the friend Margaret and what happened to her. And then with the murder of the animal, I went from like, oh, ha, 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 this is so fun, to what the hell, I'm upset. If you're like me and you're triggered by that kind of thing and you want more information, please comment down below and I will respond to your comment with some more details so you know what to expect, what chapter to avoid, what page, whatever. I'm happy to add more details. But now it's time to run into the grocery store, pick up the things I need, and then get ready for the movie night. I have mixed feelings about going into the movie. I'm excited to see some of the scary things play out. I'm wondering if they'll have the animal murder in it. I might actually like the movie better if it excludes that scene, but I don't know. I prepared my boyfriend that I might have to leave the room for a part of it. But I feel well prepared going into this. I'm excited to see the vision come to life, and I'm excited to get this themed date night going.
Nailed the theme for this book to movie adaptation date night, because in the first 5 minutes in the opening scene, Abby's mom is making hamburger helper. So yeah, I pretty much nailed it. Now that I've had time to sit with it a little bit, I think I can officially say that I like my best friend's Exorcism. The things that bugged me about it are really falling to the wayside, and the things that I enjoyed are really rising to the top. Specifically, the friendship between the two girls, the intelligence of the horror, and ultimately how it wrapped up and how things ended up. So those are the things top of my mind that make me say that I actually enjoyed this book. When it comes to comparing the book and the movie, first and foremost, let's get this out of the way. The movie does not have the murder of the animal that upset me so much in the book. So that was important. In that regard, the movie is totally better than the book. I liked the casting choices in the movie. There was some diversity, which I appreciated, and Gretchen was pretty much what I had in my mind when I was reading the book. In the movie, Abby was a lot nerdier and dorkier than what I pictured in the book. She was a little bit insecure in the book as well, but she wasn't as like homely in my head when I was reading the book, so that was a little bit of a difference. In the movie, they did not have this scary scene with the birds that I was talking about that's depicted on the cover, so I was kind of bummed about that because that was kind of terrifying in the book. But it did do a good job with some of the other scary scenes. What happened to Margaret was just as disgusting on TV as it was in the book. What happened with Glee was changed a little bit from what was in the book to the movie, but it wasn't that bad. The actual possession of Gretchen in the woods was a lot more terrifying in the movie than in the book though. So I will give the movie credit for that. They did a very good job of that scene and I was terrified. The exorcism itself was a pretty decent scene. I think Brother Lemon was hilarious. I think the casting was really well done. I think he was portrayed very well in the movie. So that definitely added some comedic relief to the exorcism in particular. In the book, he's kind of a dorky, funny character anyways, but I thought that was represented very well in the movie. I don't know if it's solely because of that, but I would say the movie had a little bit of a lighter tone. I think the book was darker with the horror scenes, and maybe that's because you're inside the characters' heads, so that adds to the horror and terror. Like I said, there were some scary scenes with the movie, but I think the comedic relief just really lightened it up a lot. One thing missing from the movie that I loved the most in the book was the connection between Gretchen and Abby. So in this, we have how they met, how their bond formed, and just how strong that bond really is. Also, the last chapter I mentioned that kind of got me a little bit emotional and really showed the depth of their friendship and the longevity of their friendship was not portrayed in the movie. So I think that's also why I say it had more comedic relief. It just didn't have the same amount of depth, whether that be the emotional depth with the friendship or the true extent of the horror. It wasn't conveyed as well in the movie as it was in the book. Because I picked up my best friend's exorcism specifically for the friendship between the two girls, I would have to say that I think the book is better because I really liked that. However, we all know that I was really disturbed by the murder of the animal, so since the book had that and the movie did not, I would say the movie is better in that regard. That is my book versus movie review for you. Overall, it was a pretty good experience. Like I said, I liked the book. The movie was okay. I don't see myself rewatching it, but overall, I'm glad that I did this. It was a fun 80s themed time, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.